Wisconsin Angling Outdoors. Today I just want to talk to you a little bit about cold front fishing and what I like to do. This is just me personally, everybody has their own opinion. This is what I like to do when a cold front hits. First we'll just kind of start off with spring. Depending on what your water temperature is when the cold front hits. If it's about the 61 to 62 degree surface temp water range and those fish are moving up to spawn and they're on the beds, me personally, when that cold front hits, it almost always is going to push those fish off the beds, or at least most of them. At least the larger females are going to be moving off the beds, but still some of the smaller males are going to stay up on beds. But the larger females are kind of going to go back into a little bit of a pre-spawn mode, going back to those transition areas, like if you got deeper water next to a spawning flat. So if you got like a, even a 3-4 foot drop off, or a creek channel, or the mouth of like a creek channel, anything going into a spawning flat, basically, that those just outside edges of the spawning flats, that's where I'm going to be targeting those bigger females, and I'll be targeting them with baits that are going to make them react, because when it hits a cold front, man, they really lock up, I think. So I'll drag a bait like this Bass Pro Shop 7-inch finique worm in blue craw, very natural bluegill-ish looking color. I'll drag that past them, or I'll fish a soft or hard jerkbait in front of them. This one, I don't know, this one just seems to do a little bit better when it's a bit colder, but when it warms up a little bit and that water's still about 58, 59 degrees, and they move back out, this Zoom Fluke really seems to do it. This is a disco shiner color, disco shad. Alright, now we're just going to be talking this next one. The spring was kind of quick because a lot of cold fronts really don't hit in the spring. Well, a lot of cold fronts do hit in the spring, but it's just kind of a short spawn season, basically, is what I'm talking about there. Now we're moving into your early summer months. What happens is basically, I like to kind of view the lake as you got deep and then spawn and then post-spawn flats. Your post-spawn flats around here, around where I live, are going to be like 4-foot flats with grass or just gravel, rock piles, anything on them really. But the post-spawn flats are where those fish are going to start moving after they're done spawning, obviously, to put the feed bag on, start feeding up on bait fish, getting their health back up, getting their tails regenerating their slime layer that they lost during the spawn. So they need a lot of forage to help them do that. So they move up into the shallows to start feeding. Well, if a cold front hits, those fish actually kind of almost reverse, and they still go back a little bit deeper to that spawning point in the 5 to 6 foot range of water, depending on what lake you're on. Now water clarity and a whole bunch of other things and structure just play a huge part in that. But wherever your fish are going to be spawning, if it's like a little bit, couple weeks past post spawn, and they're up feeding shallow, they're going to be backing back off. Now, getting into your later summer and even early fall, a lot of those fish escape the heat. They want to be in the deeper water. At least the bigger fish are going to tend to go deep water. Not saying you can't catch big ones shallow in the summertime, but a lot of your bigger 3, 4, 5 pounders, at least in Wisconsin, they tend to move deep on like lakes like Geneva, Powers, Center Lake. I catch them in like 15, 20 feet of water, which is really deep for that lake. But they're going to be moving to the deeper holes, the deeper creek channels, just stuff like that. Being able to put the feed bag on crawfish, bigger bluegills are always deeper, so that's kind of a benefit why the big fish are down there. What I like to run for those shallow ones in the late summer, they'll actually move tighter up to the bank when cold front hits, because those shallow fish they're used to existing in 3-4 foot of water, and the sun's beating down and just heating up the water. And actually, when the water gets too hot, those fish kind of get lethargic also. So when a cold front comes, the shallow water fishing really actually kind of heats up a little bit. And that's when I like to get them with this Silent Little John Spro. This thing dives like 3 feet. Awesome bait. This is just in a chartreuse shad. Just slow rolling this because it's silent. It's going to make those fish react, as well as they will eat this thing out of hunger, because in clear water, like we've had in Wisconsin the past couple seasons, you can really move this bait pretty quick, and fish will come from a long way to grab it. Alright, now we're basically just gonna, I'm going to talk about the late summer, hot summer months, what I do for the deep water fish. Now, the deep water fish are completely different from the shallow, like I said before. The deep water fish, I'm going to tend to throw either bigger baits or way down size. I'll actually be throwing swim baits, like my big 6-inch top talon. I'll throw that when the cold front comes and just slow roll it a couple feet off the bottom in about 25 to 30 feet of water, and you can usually pick up a couple good bites doing that. But another thing I really like to do is drop shot. You hang a little bait like the Zoom Z drop in front of them, or even smaller baits. I actually found last season on Lake Geneva, that was after a cold front hit, I fished a Mr. Crappie little 2-inch crappie tube on a drop shot and just a little hook. Those fish would eat it because it was easy. It was right in front of their face, and they would just have to suck it in, and no energy expenditure at all, and it was almost like a bite out of reaction that they'd never seen something like that before presented to them in deep water like that. Another good bait for the cold front is just to drag a Carolina rig, preferably like a big ribbon tail one, like a 10-incher in the deep water. Get yourself like a 3/4 ounce tungsten Carolina rig weight and a glass bead, or even just go with a plastic bead, like I like to do during cold front. Not make commotion, just kind of drag it in front of them silently, and let those fish choose. And most of the time they're going to choose out of reaction because it's right in front of their face, and they can just swim a couple inches and grab that bait. But that's how particularly you have to be with your cast. Good electronics are very important in cold front situations in deep water. You have to find the structure, and you have to hit it. If you don't, you're gonna be having a bad day, because one, you can't catch fish. Two, you're not gonna be finding the structure that the fish are living in. So, I mean, just one thing leads to another. So you just gotta think smart when fishing cold fronts, and just treat every cold front as it's different. Watch the temperatures. Is it going down dramatically or down just a little bit? It's just basically that coincides with the way that the fish are going to react to it. If it's a dramatic drop in temperature, those fish are going to act very dramatically from what they were when your barometer and temperature were very normal. So that's about it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been Clay for Wisconsin Angling Outdoors, and I'll see you guys later.